I'm very excited about my new Mac Mini with Apple's latest M4 chip, and in preparation for its arrival, I'm getting ready to move all the video files from the iMovie library of my 2014 MacBook Pro to an external drive. The only downside to Apple's cheapest desktop computer is the size of the internal storage. 256 gigabytes of SSD space. Now that would fill up pretty quickly, as I plan to do more editing in 4K, so I'll be keeping the iMovie library files on an external drive. I plan on using this computer for a long time, so I'll need some space, but an additional $800 to have an internal 2 terabyte drive is just too expensive for me. Here's my new computer with 2 USB-C ports and a headphone jack on the front, plus Ethernet, HDMI, and 3 Thunderbolt 4 ports in the back. I'll be using one of those to connect my external drive. I could have saved some time and purchased a complete external drive, but instead I decided to piece together one of my own. This enclosure came from Amazon a while back, and I'll give it a try here. There are many other enclosures you could buy that will have faster transfer speeds, but they start at $80 or $90, and I already had this one. The drive that I'll be using and installing in this enclosure is actually pretty fast, and it's also easily removed and easily reinstalled into a better enclosure if this one proves to be too slow. I bought this right before Christmas, just like the Mac Mini. There are good deals to be found during the holiday season because at the time, this was just under $120. Which sounds like a lot, but remember that 2 gigabytes of internal storage for the Mac Mini was an additional $800 on top of the $499 for the computer. So $117.99 seemed like a good deal to me. Installation really couldn't be much easier. The SSD inserts into the board at an angle, and then a little pin, or maybe you would call it a little plug, slides into a slot. Then you push it down, put the cover back on, and you're pretty much ready to go. The enclosure that I have included a USB-C to USB-A cable, and also one with USB-C at both ends. I'll use the first one here because my 2014 MacBook doesn't even have a USB-C port. This new drive is a blank canvas. It's never even been formatted. So a screen pops up and I choose Initialize, which then opens up the disk utility. The new external drive is showing up as one from Realtek. I'll click Erase and give it a new name. The file format will remain APFS because I'm only using this with Apple products, and the new Mac Mini is also in this same format. The new external drive can now be read from and written to. I've decided to call it iMovie Libraries, and clicking on it reveals nearly the full 2 terabytes of available space. I'm still on the 2014 MacBook, and from Finder, I choose Go, and then scroll down to Home, which is where I'll find a folder called Movies. My Movies folder is a bit of a mess, but I'm only interested in copying basically two things. The main one is the iMovie library. Once that's copied, I open up the external drive and then click Paste. This takes a while because it's writing nearly 700 gigabytes over to the new drive. While I'm here, I'm also going to copy another folder called iMovie Theater and paste it into the new drive. Now that it's connected to the new Mac Mini, I can open Disk Utility and see that I have about 660 gigabytes of files to explore. This represents all of the iMovie projects and the raw video, plus all of the still photos and graphics that I've made over the last 3 years. If I double-click on the iMovie library icon, it would immediately launch the iMovie program. But if I want to see what's inside the iMovie library, I click once and then go over to this drop-down menu. And from there, I select Show Package Contents. I think this represents more than 200 videos that I've made for YouTube. I'll click on one that's still unfinished, just for a quick look. And sure enough, here are the videos and photos from an earlier train show for another video. So far, so good, but now for the real moment of truth. Double-clicking the iMovie library icon launches the actual iMovie program, and even with an M4-powered Mac Mini, it takes nearly a minute to fill in all of the events. But once it's finished, all of my old projects are here on the new computer. This is working really well. It's definitely faster than my MacBook. I'm going to make a few videos, just to be sure, but I think that the external drive is going to work out really well. Thanks for watching, and until next time, this has been Bob's Workshop. Take care.